Hey everyone, Travis here. I'm going to show you how to get Zoom set up on your computer and also how to use some of the in-meeting tools so that you can have a smooth experience using Zoom. First of all, you got to get Zoom downloaded to your computer. On the district computer, you're going to have the application launcher. If you go into My Applications, you'll find the icon for Zoom Desktop. Double-click on that, and that will download and install Zoom to your desktop with no problem. Once that's done, it's going to take a few minutes, but once that's done, come down to the search button, which is the magnifying glass, type in the word Zoom. You should see Zoom app at the top. Go ahead and right click on it and pin it to your taskbar. That way you're going to have an icon on your desktop after you install it, and you're going to have a nice little icon down here in the corner where you can open it once you have it installed. So I'm going to go ahead and open it and take you through that. So once I open it, go ahead and sign in. Sign in with your Google account. Everybody is going to have a Zoom account that's tied to their Google, your school login. So sign in with Google. Make sure you're signed in to Chrome. Select your account, and then you click on Open Zoom Meetings here, and then Zoom, the Zoom window, will open. And it looks like this. So from here, you can start a new meeting using your personal meeting room. You can join a meeting, and you should see other upcoming meetings that you have. We're going to talk about scheduling meetings on the actual website itself, so just that'll come later in the video. Well, what I want to do is show you how to update Zoom, because Zoom updates frequently, and so you need to know how to update Zoom so you can get the best experience in using it. So once you're signed into the Zoom desktop app, you click on your profile picture, or if you don't have a picture, it'll be your initial up here in the top, and you go down to check for updates, and this is already updated, so there is no update. If you do have an update available, it will tell you what your version is, and if there's an update, what that version is, and then just go through the prompts of updating your Zoom. You want to make sure that you stay on top of updates. It's a good idea to check once a week for updates. Doesn't take very long to do, and that way you're guaranteed the best experience for Zoom, because like I said, they do update quite often, working on bugs and security fixes and enhancements. So just make sure you go up to your profile picture, check for updates, try and get in the habit of doing that once a week or so. All right, so let's look at the website. So I'm going to go ahead and open up Chrome. I'm going to go to zoom.us. Once you're at zoom.us, click on Sign In. Again, you'll sign in with your Google, so click on the Sign In with Google button. And you may be prompted to select your account, but I'm right into my meeting here. Okay, so over here under Personal, you have your profile, you have your meetings, you have webinars, which you won't have anything to do with. Recordings, this is where the recordings of your meetings will live, and then settings. We're going to first look at meetings and scheduling meetings and setting those up. So under Meetings, if you go to Schedule a Meeting, you can schedule a class for an entire semester or an entire year to use the same link and password. So what you'll do is under Topic, this is the name of your meeting, so this will be whatever you want that to be so students know what that is. Description is optional. Under the date and time, we're not going to set anything here. We're going to come down to reoccurring meetings, and we're going to, under recurrence, we're going to set this at no fixed time. What that does is that basically lets you use that link for that meeting for up to a year. So when you use the meeting link today, it is still active for a year if you never use it again. So if you continue to use it every day, that calendar, that clock obviously changes. So it's really good forever as long as you keep using that link. So you want no fixed time. That way there's no interruption. It won't be disabled. And then, like I said, there's no interruption to the student. So under click reoccurring, under recurrence, choose no fixed time. Meeting IDs, this is fine. Let it generate it automatically. You have to have a password. It gives you a 6-digit password. You can customize this if you want. Just don't put any spaces in your password because Zoom doesn't like spaces. Uppercase letters, lowercase letters, and numbers are fine, just no spaces. You also want to make sure the waiting room is turned on. When students enter your meeting, they're put into the waiting room. You let them in. So don't let anybody in that you don't recognize. And so the first few times, you may have to remind your students to make sure they're putting their name as the display name so you know that they are coming in. Video, this is just when you and your students or participants come into the meeting, their cameras are off. They can still turn them on, but it turns them off automatically when they enter the meeting. It helps with students that have low quality internet or bandwidth, and it seems to speed up the time that the student gets into the meeting. So I recommend having both of those turned off. Again, they can be turned on when you're in the meeting. Audio, make sure you have both. That way the student has the option to phone in and listen or talk. They could participate by talking over the phone. So you want to make sure you have both there. Meeting options. The only thing that you need to check is mute participants upon entry. This mutes the student automatically when they enter, and they can't unmute until you allow them to unmute. And then automatically record meetings. We want to record to the cloud, and we're going to see that in the settings section of this video because we'll customize what we want to record for student privacy. So automatically record meetings, make sure that is set to the cloud. And then alternative host. If you have a para, a co-teacher, if you know your substitute, your school may want you to put a couple of other teachers in as alternative hosts. You do that here just by putting their email in and selecting them from the list. Alternative hosts can start the meeting so you don't have to. So alternative hosts, like I said, co-teachers or paras, or if you know you have a long-term sub, make them an alternative host so they could actually run your meeting or your class for you while you're gone. That is the function of the alternative host. But the people can't do that if they are not on this list. If they are on this list, they'll get an email that's saying that they're an alternative host. They have to be signed into the app in order to start the meeting, or Zoom recognizes them as a guest and not a host. So anybody that you want to have as an alternative host, you put in there. You just type in their email address, select them from the list, and you can have several people on that list. It's going to be building specific on who gets added to that list. Sometimes a coach gets added to everybody's list. Sometimes it's the principal, assistant principal. It's people in your department or grade level. So make sure you talk with your building administrators to find out who needs to be alternative hosts on your meetings. Once you have all these set, you click Save. And then this gives you the details. So it's a reoccurring meeting. Here's the meeting ID. Here's the link. What you can do is you can click on Copy Invitation. You can copy this information right here, and then post that into Google Classroom or Seesaw, and post it someplace where students are always gonna find it, so that they're not ever searching for it a lot. And you can also just copy the whole thing, because it does have the phone number to call into and that sort of thing also. So this is the meeting information for students, and again, put that into Classroom or Seesaw or wherever you want them to access that. It'll show the password here. That's the password. Now if you want to edit any of this, you can scroll down to the bottom and there's the edit button right here. So if you want to change your password, you go into edit, change your password, and click save. And if you ever want to delete a meeting, you delete it here. Once it's deleted, that meeting ID is no good anymore. You can also, so when you're done, you come into meetings, you can start your meetings from here. So this is my class, and I can just click start, and I'll start the meeting from here. And I'm going to do that here in a second. But let's look at the settings tab. In the settings tab, there are some things that you're going to want to have turned on and turned off. Settings that are turned on are going to be blue. Settings that are turned off are going to be gray, and you just click on the little slider to switch them on or off. So I'm just going to go through these settings and highlight a few that you want to make sure that are turned on or turned off. Waiting room has to be turned on. That's a security setting that we utilize so that you can let in only the people that you know are supposed to be in for that class. Require passcode when scheduling new meetings, that should be turned on. Anytime requiring passwords for anything should be turned on. Embed passcode and invite link for one-click join should be off. If this is turned on, the password is embedded into the link, and so that's a security risk if the link is getting passed around by students and then anybody can join really without putting the password in. Authenticated users can join. This is going to be building specific, mostly at the high school level. What this does is if you turn it on and you choose TPS Zoom users only, the students have to have a Zoom account set up under their TPS 501 email, and they can do that themselves, set that up. That's a free account using their email address. But if you have this turned on, only the students that have a TPS 501 account, a Zoom account set up under that email address will be allowed to join the class. If they try to join with a regular Google account or anything else, they're not going to be allowed to join. This is going to be building specific, mostly used at the high school, but talk to your administrator to make sure that this is something that they want you to utilize and turn on. Scrolling down here, host and participant videos are off. We saw that on the other setting. Audio type, computer and telephone, we saw that. Allow participants to join before host. Make sure that is off. That way the students can't be in the meeting before you. That's what happens if it's turned on. If it's turned off, they'll get a message that says waiting for the host to start the meeting, and then they'll be put into the waiting room. Personal IDs. If you have this turned on, you can use your personal meeting room as a quick meeting if you want to. Scrolling down, mute participants when they join the meeting. That should be turned on. We talked about that before. In meeting chat, if you want to utilize the chat, you can turn that on. You can actually turn it off while you're in the meeting. And I would also recommend not prevent participants from saving chat. I'd recommend you check that too, just so kids aren't saving the chat in case something inappropriate gets put into the chat. They don't save it and then gets shared around school and that sort of things. Private chat, I would recommend you have private chat turned off. Private chat allows students to chat with one another privately without you seeing it. I would shut that off so they can only chat to either the entire group or just to you, the host. Auto-saving chats, you can turn this on if you want. That's what it's going to do. It's going to save to your documents folder on your computer. If you turn it off, it's still going to get saved. It's just going to be part of the recording files that get saved. Play sound notification. This is good to have turned on, and only the host and co-host can hear it. That lets you know that someone joined into the waiting room and needs to be let in, or it also there's a different tone when someone leaves the meeting. So that's nice to kind of know that when someone comes in and when someone leaves, you can hear that. File transfer, I'd shut that off. Kids don't need to be transferring files. Feedback on Zoom can be shut off. The feedback survey, that's at the end of the Zoom, that can all be shut off. Co-host, turn that on. This will allow you to have co-hosts in your meetings, and co-hosts can basically have the same meeting settings as you would as a host. Alternative hosts are automatically co-hosts when they're in, or you can assign someone a co-host while they are in the meeting to do different things. The newest thing, or the most recent update they did for co-hosts, is the ability to manage breakout rooms, which is really nice. So now co-hosts can manage breakout rooms. Meeting polls, you can have those turned on. Those are actually, you can set those questions at the bottom of your meeting summary, where that edit button would be a little bit lower. You can set up the poll questions if you want. The meeting control toolbar is the toolbar that would go across the top of the screen once you screen share something. And then coming down here farther, screen sharing, make this set to host only. You can change it in the meeting and allow everybody to share their screen, but to start the meeting, make sure it's only set to host only so somebody doesn't hijack your meeting sharing something they shouldn't. That's really how Zoom bombing happens, is someone gets in there that they shouldn't and starts sharing their screen with inappropriate images and things like that. And so just make sure that screen sharing is turned on, because you're going to want to share your screen, and that it's host only. And if you ever want students to share, you can allow them to do that while you're in the meeting. You don't have to change it here. Let's see, annotation. I would highly recommend against annotation. What this does is it gives students a tool so they can annotate on a shared screen. And I have seen where kids have hijacked a screen with the annotation tool and just start scribbling over it. You can set it to see who the user is who's annotating, which is great after the fact, after they started doing it, but it doesn't prevent them from doing it. So if you're not going to use annotation, I would really recommend against it, especially in the middle and high school levels where they can cause some problems and disruptions using annotation. And also, annotation does not work with Chromebooks, so you can just shut it off and it's not even available. Same with Whiteboard. You do have a whiteboard where in your screen share you have the option for Whiteboard. Again, you can shut that off and it's not even going to be an option to do that. Remote control, you're probably going to have off. I have it turned on so that I can remotely control somebody's computer if I need to for some tech support types of things. But you could probably just shut that off, because you will never really need to use that feature. Nonverbal feedback, go ahead and turn that on. That's like thumbs up, thumbs down, slow down, speed up. I got it. Those sorts of buttons. Meeting reactions is the same thing. You get emojis. You can leave those on if you want. You can choose to have all emojis available to the students, or selected emojis, which would be the clapping, the thumbs, the crying, the laughing, shocked, the heart, and then the celebrate icon. Allow remove participants to rejoin. I have this off, though this is a choice for you, and again, you can come in and change this at any time, but allow remove participants to rejoin. If you remove a student from being disruptive, and if this is turned off, they cannot rejoin your meeting until your meeting starts a new session. So maybe the next day. If you have it turned on and you kick a kid out for being disruptive, then they can immediately come back in to the meeting. So it's up to you how you want to handle this. You may want to keep it on in case you do have that problem, but again, this can always be shut off at any time. You can change any of these settings at any time. Allow participants to rename themselves. Again, I would have this on and remind students to make sure they're naming themselves correctly before they get into the waiting room. And then at some point in the semester, I'd turn it off. That way, it prevents somebody from getting into the meeting and then renaming themselves as somebody else. And then they cause problems. So again, these two are really up to you how you want to handle those, but just know that those are there. And then hide participant profile pictures. I have this turned off because there was a situation I was in where somebody had a somewhat inappropriate profile picture, and so when I shut this off, it just hides the profile pictures and just puts the names up there. So those profile pictures are distracting because they could be distracting. And then under in-meeting advanced breakout rooms, you can turn this on if you plan to use breakout rooms. Breakout rooms are really nice for small group interactions. And again, co-hosts can now manage breakout rooms. Like they can start breakout rooms, they can build breakout rooms, they can put people in breakout rooms. So that's nice for co-hosts to be able to do while you're trying to give the instructions on the breakout rooms. And then you can go from breakout room to breakout room and see what's happening. Closed captioning. There is available, so if you turn on closed captioning, there is available live transcription within closed captioning, and the student would turn it on their end. I will tell you, however, when we tested it, it was fairly slow on a student Chromebook. It was several seconds behind when the captioning popped up to what was actually being said. So just keep that in mind. But that is an option for students that need that accessibility tool available to them. You'd have to turn on captioning and then click this box, enable the live transcription service. And then they have to click the closed captioning button on their end. It doesn't automatically pop up. And then save captions. You can turn that on if you're going to use that. Virtual backgrounds, you'll need to turn that on. They give you some virtual backgrounds. You can always upload more virtual backgrounds as you wish. And also blur is an option for a background. And I'll show you that in the app itself. And then filters, you can leave those on. Immersive View is something new and it's kind of fun. And I'm going to show you that when we're in an actual Zoom meeting. But that is something new that you'll have to go. It's off by default, and you'll have to turn it on if that's something you want to ever use. Just going through here real quick, just some other things. That's pretty much it as far as one of the last ones here. Show a join from your browser link. If kids are having problems accessing Zoom from the link, they can always get the option to join from the browser, and so it joins from Chrome and not from the app itself. And so that's an option if kids are having problems with the app, is they can join from the browser. And then the rest of this is kind of just technical stuff. Email notifications, you can go through here and turn off and on what you want, and then everything else is kind of technical stuff. So that is the settings for your meetings. There's a lot of them, but they're pretty important. A lot of security stuff. The recording settings, what you're going to want to do is you got two options. You can record to your computer or you can record to the cloud. We suggest not recording to the computer because it records everything. And we don't want to necessarily record student faces because of student privacy. So we're going to make sure that gets turned off. Cloud recording, the only things that you want set for cloud recording are, I'm going to uncheck all of these things right here, is you only want to record the shared screen. And what that's going to do is it'll record all the audio. So you're going to hear everything, but it's not going to record student or teacher faces. It's only going to record the screen. And so if you don't share anything, you're just going to see a black screen until you do a screen share, and then it'll show what's on the screen plus the audio recording. So we don't want to record student faces because of privacy. So you just want to have record active speaker, gallery view, shared screen separately, and you just want to do a shared screen option here. And then if you want to, you can record only the audio file, and then if you want that chat saved, you can have that. So this would be 3 different files here that are you have the option to download. You don't have to record the audio. So then if you don't record audio, you have the video and the chat. Okay, and then then you'd click save to save those settings. And then what you do is you go into your recordings, and this would be where those recordings live. You click on it and you click on speaker view or audio, and then you come over here and you click download to download it to your computer, upload it to your drive, and then you delete this from your Zoom account. It's important that you go through and download those things and then upload them and then delete them from your Zoom account, because we have limited space on our Zoom storage. And if you don't go in and delete those and save them, then they're going to get deleted automatically. Okay, so those are pretty much all the recordings within your Zoom.us account. So now let's look at, we're going to go ahead and go into meetings, and I'm going to start this meeting that we just made, and then we're going to go through some of the in-meeting things that you need to do. First of all, when you join a meeting, you have to join with the computer audio. That way your speakers and your microphones will work. So I'm going to click on join computer audio, and I'm going to go ahead and mute myself because I'm recording with a different tool than using this. I don't want to get any feedback or anything. You can see it's automatically recording into the cloud. You can pause this. So if you're in a meeting 5 minutes ahead of time, you can pause it and then just push the play button to resume that. And I'm going to go ahead and stop this and click yes. But down here at the bottom, you can always click on record again to record that meeting. So down here at the bottom, let me make this full screen here. So down here at the bottom are your captions. Actually, let's do this. Is your tools that you have access to during the meeting. You can mess with all these tools during the meeting at any time. So you mute and unmute yourself. That makes your microphone so kids can hear you. Right now I'm muted. I got a line through that. You select your microphone. So I have a USB microphone set up, and then I select my speakers. You can test your speakers and microphone. So if you hear it, you click yes. If you see that, you hit yes, and you're done with the test. That's as easy as that gets. With the video, you select your webcam if it's not by default. We have most everybody should have an AverMedia webcam. It's the live streamer webcam, and to turn that on, you click on Start Video. I can't because I'm using the webcam on the different tool, so it's not going to let me turn that on. But you can also choose a virtual background. So you have none, and it'll show up here, and because I'm already using the webcam, it's not going to show up here. But you have blur, you have these built-in ones. You can click this plus button to add your own virtual background if you want. So that's an option that you do have. I'll just tell you, virtual backgrounds are not supported on Chromebooks or on iPads, only on PCs and Mac computers. So just be aware of that, that students don't have the ability to do virtual backgrounds as of this recording. All right, next under the security tab, these are kind of the big security features, and if they're checked, they're turned on. So like right now when a student comes in, they can start the video, they can unmute themselves, they can rename themselves, they have access to the chat, and the waiting room is enabled. If I don't want them to have access to chat, I just come in here and uncheck that, and chat is shut off. If I don't want them to unmute themselves, I uncheck unmute themselves. You can also suspend participants' activities, and it says everyone's videos and audios will be turned off, screen sharing will be stopped, and the meeting will be locked. And if you click suspend, participants have been suspended. Basically, it locks everybody, and you can see it shuts everything off, locks the meeting. That means nobody can come in. The waiting room is still open in case there's still people in the waiting room, and it hides profile pictures. But all of this can be, again, turned on and turned off as you want them to have access. So it's it's on the fly. When students are in here, if they're, if you want them to just, it's getting too loud, there's too much talking, you can just suspend everybody all at once. It basically shuts everybody down so you can talk and get their attention back, and then you can slowly turn these tools back on. The participants window shows the participants that are in the meeting. The waiting room will show up here at the top, and you can allow people in. And when you allow people in, you would go down to their name, you click on more, and there would be an option to make them a co-host if that's what you want. You can also, if they're not able to unmute themselves, you can also click on unmute, and it will ask them, they'll bring up a little pop-up on their side that says the host would like you to unmute, and then they can unmute. You can also stop their video as well. Polls, you can do polls on the fly right here. You can ask a question, and then it pushes those questions out excuse me, as a poll. Chat, right now we have chat turned off. I'm going to turn it on. On chat, it pops up over here. If the participant window is open, it pops up over here under participant. I'm going to go ahead and close the participant window. So chat, you can have chat turned on, and right now chat, anybody who's in here can chat with anybody. Under the three dots here, if you want chat turned on but they can only chat to you and you're the only one that sees it, you can turn that on and it's host only. Or if you do no one, then chat's turned off, and you can see it's turned off here as well. I just turned it back on. So it's everyone publicly, host only, and then no one. And remember, in our settings, we had it set so that they can't do private chats. But you can. As a host, you can do private chats, but student to student can't do private chats. All right, screen share. I'm going to click on screen share. On the security, this would be shut off, unchecked, unless you want other participants to screen share. So that can be, once you're ready for a student to do a screen share, you come in and click that, and then they have that ability to do that. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and click on screen share. On screen share, you're going to have a lot of options. So I'm on a machine with two monitors, so I have screen 1 and screen 2, and you can see this is screen 1. That might, I don't know if that'll show up or not, but if it doesn't, it has a 1 up in the corner. My other screen has a 2 up in the corner. Here's the whiteboard option. You can also share individual windows. So I have individual Chrome. I'm using Camtasia to record this, so I can share that as well. So when I click on the screen, I'm going to go ahead and click on screen 2, so we'll share that. And actually, let me stop screen share. I'm going to do screen 1, so hopefully you can see that on the recording. So now I have this window here, or this toolbar, and this floats around. The participants don't see this window, only you do. So you can still have access to the participant window, the chat, and everything else. And it says you are seeing the screen. It shows I'm muted, and I can stop my screen share and go back to the grid view or the gallery view, however you're in there. I can also, on the fly, if I click this little button, I can change this to host or all participants can share. I can pause my share, and if I do that, it pauses the screen on the student's end, but on your end, you can move windows around, and you can get ready, and then resume share. They'll see the new view, so you can pause it. You can kind of get things moved around how you want to, and get a window up that you want to share again, and then turn it back on. Annotate. This is that annotation tool that I was telling you about, where you and your students can have access to all of these different annotation tools. And then under more, here's record. This is everything else that's on the bottom that we haven't got to yet. Plus enable annotation for others. So I have it was turned on, I think, if I remember right. So I can click that, turn it on. I can hide the names. I can hide this floating toolbar if it gets in the way, and you have to do Control Shift Alt H to get it back. So Control Shift Alt and H brings that back. So you got to remember that. You may want to write it down if you're going to use it. And then that's pretty much it for this on screen share. And I'm going to stop screen share. It takes me back into my regular view. Okay, and then again, if you want students, you have to turn it on for students. Record button, you click on it, it's going to record. I don't want to record right now, so I'm going to stop. Live transcripts, this is where you would enable the auto transcription. You'd have to click on that to basically turn it on, and now nothing happens on your end. Students would have to click on the CC, click on the same button for the transcription or the transcript live captioning to pop up. And you can also do a little bit with the subtitle, with the settings. You can make them smaller or larger, and do some other settings with that with the transcriptions. Breakout rooms. Breakout rooms, you can create as many rooms as you want. You can assign people automatically, just kind of randomly. It assigns them automatically. If you assign them manually, you have to go in and choose the student and which room they want to go into. You can also let participants join rooms. I'm not 100% sure if this works on Chromebooks or not, but that is an option. If you don't care, just assign it automatically and hit create, and then I just had 2 rooms here. You can rename the rooms, you can delete the rooms. Here's where you would assign students. You'd click assign, your list of students would be here. You just put check boxes in for those students you want in that room. Under options here, you can allow participants to choose their own room, automatically move those students. If you don't choose this, they're going to get a box that pops up that says the host would like you to go to this room, basically is what the box says, and they have to click on it to go to it. If you choose automatically move, then that box doesn't show up. They're just automatically sent to that room. You can also set a time limit on your breakout rooms. You can customize that in the minutes. And then have a countdown timer, however many seconds. The default is 60. So once you get to the 30-minute mark, the room technically closes, but they have a 60-second warning. So 30 minutes plus a 60-second warning, and then they're forced back into the breakout room. And breakout rooms are good for the entire session. So you could send kids to a breakout room, bring them back, open all the rooms again, it sends the same group back to the same room for that session only. When you do a new session, you have to recreate the rooms. The reactions, these are the reactions as kids are talking. If you like what they say, puts a thumb up in the corner. And then under more, this can be shut off in the in your settings, but I do some live streaming of like board meetings and that sort of thing. So, but you do have this option. I highly suggest against doing this with your class. And this can actually be shut off in the settings. It's at the bottom where you can live stream. But that is the toolbar at the bottom. You click End to end the meeting for everybody. Then up here at the view, you have the grid view. The speaker view will put the active speaker in the middle in the big, and then in the big window, and then at the top in little thumbnail windows will be everybody else. What I want to do is show you the immersive screens. So this is new, and this is kind of cool. So what they've done is you have 9 different scenes that you can use. The number of people per scene is down in the lower right hand corner. So like this one is a scene in front of a fireplace with me and one other person. And when I start it, and I don't know if this is going to work because I'm using my camera on another with the other tool here, but I'm going to go ahead and hit start, and my picture would show up here, and it would be they would capture me, so it works like a green screen. And then you can have the other person in here too. From what I've read, this is, like I said, this is new as of this recording. I haven't got a chance to play with it a whole lot, but from what I've read and seen, students with Chromebooks and iPads, it may or may not work with them. I just haven't been able to find out that much information. Zoom says it's not supported with them, but I have seen some screenshots and talked to some teachers with students use iPads to get into the meeting. They're able to see the view here, but they're not able to start it. Anyway, that's under the immersive view, and you've got like a presentation room, you've got a classroom, you've got a kitchen, you've got all these different kind of fun little places. If you choose one of these, let's say this is 6, so it's you plus 5 other students, and you've got 10 students coming in. The first 5 are going to be placed into the scene, and the others are going to still be in the meeting, but they're going to be left out of the scene. But you'll still be able to see them and hear them and participate with them. They just won't be in the scene with you. So the number is the number of participants actually going to be in the scene, but you can have more in your meeting if you want. And then again, you can just click to start, and then you would start, or you can change that on the fly if you wanted to do that. Okay, so that is Zoom. That's just a brief rundown of Zoom really quickly, and if you got any questions, let me know. I'll put my email at the end of this video. Like I said, if you got questions, anything about Zoom, let me know. And thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time. Thanks. Bye.